Welcome everybody tonight. This is the show you're listening to. I am trying to improvise a song, and I'm completely missing out. Oh God, I have my throat. My throat. I'm dying. The bar. Do the opening. Okay, since I'm good, I'm alive. I'm still alive.
Yeah, he's not choking on a comic book, folks. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, the bar.
Yep.
Power Ponies?
Power Ponies.
So we're talking about ponies and super comic book superheroes. What could possibly go wrong, right?
Only except the internet exploding with tons of fan art involving tights.
Oh, and almost everybody hating this episode because, they cannot grasp the concept of ponies in comic books, but, and the really silly plot point, the fact that the comic comes from the enchanted comic book shopping Canterlot. That was quite silly. But then again, this whole episode was meant to be just something silly, really.
Yeah, something
really.
fun and silly, really. Just as much as a typical day at a comic book, really.
Yeah, comic books. Of course, if you don't know anything about comic books, well, you probably still watch all the Marvel movies, so nobody should be lost on this.
Well, Marvel movies, cartoons, figurines, even novelizations.
Even though this episode had a very Silver Age flavor to it, didn't it?
Yeah, right down to the puns, like Mane-iac.
Oh my gosh, the puns! It is time for the main event. Okay, I'm pretty sure one half of the internet saw the Joker in this character.
Yep,
The other half of the internet saw Dr. Octopus. I saw Sedusa from the Powerpuff Girls in this character.
Oh, I saw a mixture of all three, with a bit of Kefka involved in this one.
And also a horse, because it's a horse.
Yeah, a bit of Nightmare Moon-esque type shapes.
And I actually very like the design of the Mane-iac.
Yes.
Mane-iac. Okay, the Mane-iac stole the episode, really. She was like the perfect, all-encompassing, ultra super cliche Silver Age style of comic book villain.
I agree with you.
She has everything. The monologues, the crackling evil laughter, the stupid planning to take over the city or the world with some generic power orb or something.
And then even a ridiculous number of inventions and silly minions.
Yeah, speaking of the silly minions, what's up with all those green-haired clones that were running around in the cartoon? I mean, there are other minions with specific designs and aesthetics, but why there is this soup army of clones with green manes? I don't get it.
I would take a wild guess it's basically a reference to the 70s version of Batman, really. Yeah, all the minions look the same. Yeah, wear the same outfits sometimes.
Speaking of Batman, am I the only one who think that in the first fighting scenes against the minions, there was a very sore missed opportunity to reference the original Batman TV show?
With with the pows and the zaps.
When they kick and punch someone, they're like just the onomatopoeic sound effect appearing on screen. They could have gone nuts with that concept. I mean, Pinkie Pie playing pranks on everyone while being the Flash, basically. They could have gone, when she taps on someone's shoulder.
Could have been a tap.
Then there goes tap on the screen, tap with the music. Damn! It would have been entertaining.
It would have been amusing. That's for sure. It probably was something up there, but
or maybe prank.
Trip,
or
hair flip.
Or in case of Fluttershy, adorableness. Wow.
Oh no! The sound would be squee.
That was a missed opportunity, but come to think of it, the first time I saw this episode, I was pretty neutral about it.
Yeah, it just seemed like another episode with a situation that needed fixing and to learn a life lesson sort of thing. Nothing that moved the plot along, moved the main plot anyway.
It's also a Spike episode, how those usually go. Okay, but no, I was pretty neutral about it because the first time I saw it, I didn't think there was anything particularly outstanding about it. Sure, the main six had now superpowers, but really they already had superpowers to begin with. If you think about it, they were already kind of a group of superheroes in their world. So now the only addition is that they have silly costumes. And the powers they have are pretty much the same powers they had in the reality. But I thought that was lame at the beginning, especially since, Applejack suddenly isn't able to use a lasso, which is kind of stupid.
Yes, I thought that was kind of silly as well, and kind of odd. It was like as if suddenly they were ripped out from their own laws of physics and were put into a different set of laws and that was working against them with what they usually used to do, but they made no sense.
But thinking about it, I think this is kind of clever almost, because it makes you think about it. I mean, think about Applejack, for example. She's basically a toss between Batman and Wonder Woman. Not only with the lasso, but also with the golden horseshoes and the gadgetry, and also her parents are dead, so she's kind of like the Batman.
Okay, I was going to say more like Robin, to be honest, but now you said it like that.
No, Spike is Robin. In fact, he has also the catchphrase. He said, holy pony personas, ponies, or something.
Yeah, like that. I do see a bit of Robin in Spike's dialogue in that comic.
So I think the clever thing is, these ponies, in their reality, already kind of superheroes. By having them dressed up as comic book superheroes with silly costumes and everything, and playing up in this comic book world, you actually get to realize what they already wear in their reality. Rainbow Dash has always been kind of a toss between Thor and Storm, with their ability to control the weather and the lightning stuff, and the fact that she's boasting and everything. She was already kind of so. Only now, when you actually see her acting as a super comic book superheroes with an actual, and their actual natural abilities are passed on as super powers, you actually get to notice for the first time that Rainbow Dash was always kind of a toss between Thor and Storm, and that gave me something to think about it. And Pinkie Pie was already kind of the fastest thing on four legs. I mean, always for comedic purposes, but now she's really the Flash. If she was an actual superhero, she would be the pony version of the Flash. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I was going to say that for some reason the costume slightly reminded me of Quicksilver as well, slightly, though with
Quicksilver too, yes.
Though with a bit of, obviously changed to pink.
This reminds me. Okay, somebody on YouTube made a theme song dedicated to Philly Second, which is the character played by Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
And it's a parody of the theme song from the 1980s movie Flash Gordon, the one sung by the Queen.
Oh dear.
It goes like, Philly Second, oh! It's great. You have to hunt it down, and it's great. It's hilarious. And also, I think the more interesting ones were actually Rarity. Rarity is kind of Green Lantern or Purple Lantern. I mean, she can create things out of nowhere and use them as weapon, which is kind of what she does in reality. She's an artist, a fashionista. She creates things, so to speak. She had the more interesting power because actually, she's the only exception to the rule, because all the others are basically what they already have their abilities from reality translated into comic book as quote-unquote superpowers, but Rarity's superpowers are actually legit, because they actually feel like an evolution of what she's already capable of doing in the real world, quote-unquote. And she's the Green Lantern. How cool is that?
Well, it makes lots of sense now. You put it like that, and you make the connections with that.
And Flutterhawk.
Oh dear.
I mean, so she turns into a monster when she gets mad. It is so different from her usual self.
Yeah. Do we really?
Flutter, are you kidding me? I'm going to Flutterhawk smash!
Madhog smash and crush you!
Oh my god.
I was just too busy staring in awe because I knew as soon as they said her powers when she gets angry, I knew, oh my lord,
Yeah,
what is it?
And you know this? Her superhero name is Saddle Rager.
That sounds like...
That is the coolest name I've ever heard. Saddle Rager.
It sounds like something from an 80s cartoon series.
Yeah, either that or he's a nemesis of what that guy was called. You know that cowboy with the scarred face from the DC universe?
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex. I think seems like the perfect a name you give to the nemesis of Jonah Hex. Subtle Rager. or a character from Fallout Equestria.
Either way, you're gonna get that same sort of vibe, aren't you, from the name alone?
Yeah, because in Fallout Equestria they have actual battle saddles, with mounted machine guns. Which is perfect, very useful for Earth Ponies, but we're getting off topic.
Yes, we need to stay on Power Ponies. Come on, Madhog. Power Ponies.
So basically, I like the fact that it's basically they took Justice League and the Avengers, put ponies in it, and mixed the thing into a giant blender. And what baffles me is that they needed 3 writers to do this.
I guess they needed to pull a lot of knowledge together of comic books or something like that.
Incidentally, the newbie is a writer from Johnny Test, which is one of the worst cartoons I've seen in years.
Oh dear.
Johnny Test, yeah, the one cartoon that one cartoon that's not only a ripoff of the Dexter's Laboratory, but its theme song is a ripoff of a certain song from American Idiot. Have you noticed?
I
mean the song. It's a ripoff of American Idiot.
I wouldn't know because I didn't watch Johnny Test. The closest thing I've watched involving something Johnny was Johnny Quest, but that was years ago.
Yeah, nothing to do with Johnny Quest, really. It's imaging the Dexter's Laboratory, but with Dee Dee being the main character, and you get something like Johnny Test. So really, you get the annoying character as the main character.
Oh no.
So anyway, and Eddie's got a talking sidekick dog because everybody got one as of late.
Everyone needs one of those.
And speaking of which, there's going to be a reboot of Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Speaking of kids with their talking dogs and everything. Anyway, we're
off topic again, man.
Do you have anything to say about this pony personas, design, critiques, anything?
Um, just that I was a bit neutral about it as well. I just considered it as like the writer's way of giving homage to the comic books of the Silver Age, effectively, and while mixing in some of the 90s designs. And if you notice, it took place mostly at night, which most of the Batman 90s comics and the animated series took place mostly at night for some strange, inexplicable reason.
Well, because I'm the Batman.
Yeah.
The night is my realm. I'm the Batman.
And I can breathe in space.
And I have throat cancer.
Let's see. What else?
I need surgery right now.
But yeah, I must admit, all the characters, for a while didn't make sense how they could screw up their powers and such. But I just chalked it up to the fact that they were basically using their powers, but in a different way, so they weren't used to doing it that way. Like,
you know what pisses me off?
What would that be?
Okay, I have this one thing that really pisses me off is the fact. Okay, Princess Twilight Sparkle. In the real world, she's like, she's basically Doctor Strange, really. She has all kinds of magic. She can stop time, blow things with her magic horn, and she can teleport. And in the comic book universe, she has this measly freezing range. She doesn't even know how to use it. That's embarrassing, really.
Yeah, I thought that was a strange translation, but again, I chalked that up to taking the character out of her element and just putting her into something that she would not be used to, effectively speaking. But other than that, Mane-iac was pretty fun for a one-off character.
Yeah, the Mane-iac, I hope the Mane-iac has a comeback, because at the end of the episode, the comic book disappears, just like that.
Yeah, then
it could be just what it could just end like that. But I'm still hoping that somehow the Mane-iac might make a return and invade reality, because that would be cool too.
Yeah.
I'm still holding my breath for this Pony of Shadow that was kind of that was actually literally foreshadowed at the end of Castlevania.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was, if you read the very last frame of that cartoon, there was something you don't see every day, which was a literal foreshadowing, literally a shadow of someone being brought for a literal foreshadowing. That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times in certain cartoons or anime where they have just the shadow at the end of the episode.
I am going to be important.
I'll be
episodes from now.
I'll be important, but I will not be coming in at this very moment. I'll be probably coming later, after a cup of tea.
Yes, I am plotting
with my tea and biscuits.
Revenge.
Plotting with tea and biscuits. Nom nom nom.
Because revenge is a dish best served
Sweet.
lukewarm. Speaking of,
I have to. Let's see. The other episodes, Cutie Mark Crusaders one, that was pretty good.
Oh my god, that's the best episode ever. I mean, that was easily the best episode of season 4. I mean, listen, even if they actually went with an episode that was not a filler with Power Ponies, which, let's face it, was kind of a filler episode, and it was just something really mindless, not really all that deep, something.
Something fun to do.
They did it because basically they can. It's a cartoon, so
You gotta have a fun episode or two, shouldn't you?
Exactly. So really, even if they went with a super serious episode, there was no way in hell they could actually hope to top or even compare to freaking Fly to the Finish, because that was a kind of a masterpiece, really. And that's already a really hard episode to top for the upcoming episode of this season. It's kind of the episode that everyone is saying it's like the perfect MLP episode and whatnot. It does pretty much everything right for my money.
I agree on that one. It does things right.
And oh boy, is Diamond Tiara the incarnation of evil? I've always been saying that Diamond Tiara is being one step above being a bully and just plain evil. And I think she was the most diabolical villain in the show, because every other villain in the show you like them because you like them or you love to hate them. No, Diamond Tiara, you hate her, and you hate her. You hate her so much. Why don't you die, you monster?
I know what you mean. It's like, God damn it! Why you still hang up on this? You should leave them be.
I think she has a personal vendetta against them, because if you think about it, she's been humiliated multiple times in front of these blank flanks, and it makes sense for some of her
stature.
For some of, she's a spoiled brat who already has her cutie mark, who thinks herself to be more important than everyone else. So why is it that every time she gets upstaged by those lowly blank flanks? So I think she developed a personal
grudge,
revenge, and now she was stood so low as to target a handicapped Pegasus. A handicapped Pegasus, by the way, she was never treated differently in any of the episodes preceding this, even though everybody obviously knew she had a disability, and that is great. That is something you don't see even in the best cartoons or even adult shows. When you have an episode that addresses a disability in such a mature and even complex way, but still delivers a message that's simple and difficult at the same time, because, even if you won't be able to fly again, you are still awesome for what you can do. And Rainbow Dash is like the best role model vehicle to convey this message. She's become such a great character. And wait, were we talking about superhero ponies a moment ago?
Yes, we were talking about power ponies. We went on to the other episodes.
Gosh darn it! I mean, if this continues, I'm going to start talking about how much of a real character Celestia is starting up to be in the premiere episode of the show. Because up until season 3 she was the mentor figure, so she couldn't actually be a character per se, as like more the mentor / godlike figure that guides the student from a distance. But now that the show actually shown to us that both the student and former mentor are equals by the way they interact with each other, now Celestia can actually be a real character.
And we can learn.
And I just went on and talk about that.
Yes.
Devar, please, you have to help me keep myself in check. Please, talk about the episode. Talk about the episode in question, please.
Okie dokie. I must admit, the part where Spikes mentioned that he got the comic book from an enchanted comic book shop, well, a bookshop.
Oh dear.
That has to be the biggest question grabber there. Who in their right mind would enchant a comic book so much that you would make a person who is reading the comic book so curious? Why did it end so abruptly? And what the tiny thing is, anyone could have took a hold of this comic book.
I think the real question everybody's asking themselves is, why is there an enchanted comic book shop allowed to exist in the first place? It's actually common the way the characters react to it. Oh, so you bought this book from an enchanted comic book shop. That explains everything. Okay, let us never talk about this ever again.
And just leave the room before anyone asks.
You know what? People are mad about this because, the problem is that sometimes they forgot this is a cartoon. And a cartoon has silly moments. Cartoons are originally meant to be, funny and unrealistic. But when you have a show like this, when you actually have super serious, complex, difficult moments, such as you have drama and passion and character development and lore and universe and mythology, when you actually stumble upon an episode that just wants to be silly for the sake of being silly, with even with stupid things happening, everybody has a general backlash because, And this is not a show I enjoy. This is not just like any other stupid cartoon ever.
I think people are concentrating on the wrong issues when it comes to cartoons. I mean,
Devar, you haven't seen. Oh my god! The last year, the general behavior of the bronies has become kind of more wretched. It's become just like more like any other fandom that ever existed, really.
yeah, it's a sad thing, really. Fandoms tend to, especially the bad ones like Sonic and Naruto, tend to get bad rep, really.
Well, I'd like to think that the Naruto and Sonic fandom became just as bad as the thing they're being a fandom of, but that's an argument for a whole other
podcast. Yeah,
podcast.
That's just an example of what we could do. Foreshadowing. Whew.
Literal foreshadowing. Here's my shadow on the wall right now.
I painted mine because I'm a drawing usually.
I just love this literal foreshadowing.
back to the what we were talking about originally. That we were saying that people, fandoms are concentrating on the wrong issues when it comes to cartoons. We should be more concentrating on whether it's good and entertaining, sort of thing.
Well, we are still watching the show, so obviously we think it's a good show. So all those little nitpicking complaints are just that, really. I think it's this is actually the fault of the blooming brony analysis community that's been developing in the last year or so. Thanks to one Digi Brony guy.
Which...
I don't know if you're actually up to date with all things going on about the very incredibly vast brony analytical community that been splurting and birthing all over the internet, basically because this one guy, DigiBrony, which is kind of a good analyzer, I'd wager, became so successful with it that everyone thought, hey, I want to do just like this guy, and it became a fad.
Yeah, just basically over-analyzing everything.
And as such, that created jadedness and cynicism and all the negative responses and nitpicky, blah, 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 blah.
I know.
Criticism is a good thing per se, because it's through criticism that you can actually expand not only your mind, but also the limits of the art you're criticizing, because the real goal that everybody seems to forget, the real goal of criticism, and this is from the perspective of a critic himself. I am a film critic, remember that?
Yes, we all know.
Criticism has to serve the purpose to improve art, to improve discussions about art, to make you think about art, to even be constructive enough to improve the artist who does art. If you do criticism for two reasons, and that is to just be nitpicking, jaded individual that can't see anything positive about the things they love, and it become like any other Star Wars or Star Trek fan that ever lived. Generalization, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or you're doing because it's fad, and that's even worse, really.
Yeah, it's just
and speaking of which, I really, really, really freaking hate it when so-called professional critics, and that's unfortunately a very commonplace, they basically use the term objective or objective.
Oh God!
Because that is literally the dumbest thing you could possibly do, the most immature thing. Because there is no such thing as an objective point of view when it comes to criticism. It always has to do with your own personal feelings, with your personal education and background, and your own personal take on something you're seeing. Because art is all about interpretation.
I'm sorry, I'm just nodding to this because I full-heartedly agree with that. All of that, what you just said.
Well, thank you for that. But, you of course you agree with me. You're my personal slave. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I just raised my sunglasses eyebrows at you.
Anyway, Power Ponies.
I was just going to say that one last thing, just for the emphasis of a joke, really, that the nitpickers are all just being Carlas from Scrubs. They're making ant hills out of they're making mountains out of molehills or ant hills.
You just had to reference Scrubs, didn't you?
Well, I have to.
Now for some reason I'm thinking of putting Dr. Cox's voice over Dr. Lollipop animation.
Again.
Again, yeah, but I actually did already. I mean,
They recently.
I took that one episode of Dr. Lollipop from Cartoon and Gover. I placed the audio from one scene of Dr. Cox and Scrubs when he actually is being roasting that poor fat guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
There was actually I was gonna say one other thing just to you really, but the people who starred in Scrubs actually did voiceover work for a redubbing of Charlie Brown's Christmas special and Dr. Cox's Linus with the blanket.
I can wow. You mean Linus?
Yeah, Linus. That's what I said.
Can you imagine Linus talking about Dr. Cox? So Charlie Brown goes to find him and, hey Linus, are you going to play baseball today or something? And Linus is like, oh sure, because I have time to waste, like you, sissy, because everything revolves around you, and I'll tell you the same thing I told the other stupid moron who told me about playing baseball today. Go suck the dick of a deck body, you idiot, you pointless. I'm not good at improvising rants.
Yeah, not all of us are, sadly. But anyway, I think we should go on back to Power Ponies and then close us up because
this podcast has been all over the map. We talk about any other episode of season 4.
Except Power Ponies.
We talk about sucking the penis of a dead body just now, but Power Ponies.
Yeah, you do realize people are going to make connections to that now.
Oh, well, why did I say that?
I have no idea. You just said it on the fly, and it just comes off wrong.
So anyway, if I had to summarize the Power Ponies episode in one sentence, it would be, "Are you kidding?" because Fluttershy is so wonderful. But no, really, I think the real reason why this episode was actually memorable is, let's face it, because of the Mane-iac.
Yes, the Mane-iac definitely stole the show.
The Mane-iac, I tell you, it's such a quintessential Silver Age comic book villain. You cannot help but love it. Everything she spouts, the stupid monologues.
It's just so over the top. I just love it.
I like the animation though.
Yes, the animation of the Mane is quite lovely.
Yeah, like I said, Dr. Octopus meets Joker meets Sedusa, all combined. You know what?
Yeah.
But what I kind of miffed about it's the color palettes of the various and the design of the various costumes and superheroes. It seems a bit too kitsch to actually be funny. If you ask me, it's a bit too campy to actually be funny. It's kind of like. It's not the camp. It's not the likable camp like in the classic Batman series. It's the alienating camp of Batman and Robin. The only thing that was missing was butt nipples. Oh Lord.
And oh no, that would just be too weird on ponies.
Oh no! What have I done?
Next you want
to. Bad idea.
Next you want to tell everyone to put bat cheeks onto the ponies.
Oh no, they're going to put tits on the costumes.
Oh.
Why did I do that? Why?
But then again, they're all girls, so they probably won't get the nipples.
And I'm sure I'm sure by now there are already Rule 34 pictures of the Power Ponies all around the internet because fans.
Let's not think about that at all.
I try to be pretty open-minded about fan art and fan fictions. It's the only way I could actually sit through something as Fallout Equestria Project Horizons, which I reviewed in length some times ago. But I have to have limits limits.
Yes, we all have our limits, and I think Rule 34 of Ponies is like, no, let's just take a detour to something else.
Okay,
But
okay. Uh,
but yeah, like we were saying,
actually, this was supposed to be a Spike episode. We didn't talk about
about
him at all.
no, we didn't. What's wrong?
That's the sad thing. As a Spike episode, it's kind of a failure because he gets outstaged by everything that's going on in the craziness and the silliness. And the lesson he learns was something he should already be aware of, since all's well that ends well, which was sadly one of the worst episodes.
Yeah, with Aloysius.
Yes, I don't hate any of the episodes of the show. Thankfully, I'm not jaded yet.
Yeah,
Well, aside from one episode that I despise with every fiber of my being.
and that would be.
Well, coincidentally, it is a Spike episode. Coincidentally, it's in season 2. Guess which one?
Let me think now, because I've seen so many of them. And I keep forgetting which one came in which.
It's the one with the cool title that reminds you of a famous video game series, but is really really stupid. It's Dragon's Quest, really.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh,
I hate that episode with so much passion. You wouldn't believe it. I hate that episode so much. I would, if I actually meet the writer of that episode, which I know who it is, it's Meriwether Williams. Meriwether Williams has to thank her good star. She wrote Wonderbolt Academy. Otherwise, I will send her a running chainsaw as a hate mail. No, really, I'm overreacting, of course, but
Yeah.
the reason there are many things wrong about these episodes, such as the subtext telling us that, Spike should be ashamed because he was born a dragon, so he better become a pony, and all that. But really, what pisses me off is the ending, because, we have Rainbow Dash, who actually who can create tornadoes and break the sound barrier and can destroy building, literally. And we have Twilight Sparkle, which is kind of Doctor Strange, and there's Rarity, who can actually kick some flank with martial arts, and they all run away from a couple of stupid, idiot teenage dragons, not even adult dragons, stupid teenage dragons. That pisses me off so much.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I did thought that was a bit weird that they basically decided to run off at the end.
They should have just stood there. They should have killed them. They should have beat them to death. They could have. They had the ability.
I would have just done one of those things where the dragons would try and jump on them. The camera cuts away to above the woods and suddenly, and then you see a big pile of them.
Yes, I thought something like that. I mean, it would have been
Funny.
It was a cartoon. You didn't even have to show the violence. You just had to do the classic cutaway and add some silly sound effect like ding ding,
and then just show a pile of them looking like as if they just had the living crudola beaten out of them.
And you have little phoenix birds flying around their dizzy heads.
More like it'd be gems for dragons.
No, phoenix birds, because they have been chasing phoenix birds.
Oh yeah, they were, weren't they? Sorry, I was thinking about the gems that they would usually.
So anyway, I think if there is one thing this particular season 4 is accentuating so far, is the fact that the dynamic of the group is really fit to handle any situation of crisis, and they have many adventures. They have been beaten crocodiles and possessed ravens. Minions and Aztec demons in Daring Don't, and now more minions and a comic book villain. So yes, I think it's clear that they've been keeping notes, and now they know there's this group of main 6. Actually, if they want, they can kick some flank. I mean, it should be obvious by now. Everybody already knew that, but it's nice to see that now the writers know too. And by the way, I like Daring Don't. I don't care if you think it's it's repulsive that Daring Do is not a meta-fictional character anymore, but it was fun. I mean, I love basically every episode written by Dave Polsky, by the way. So he is great at physical comedy and slapstick, and also in hilarious dialogues that actually very that actually reflect mirror very well what the fandom is all about. So yes, I even love the one episode that everyone hates, which is Spilling Pinkykin. I love that episode for the fact that it's a gigantic homage to classic cartoons, and that freaking Hydra looks like a character designed by Chuck Jones. How come nobody ever noticed it? Nobody ever noticed it, that the Hydra in Feeling Pinkykin looks like a character designed by Chuck Jones. Have you all suddenly lost your intelligence? You grew up watching the Dr. Seuss specials animated by Chuck Jones. You all watched Looney Tunes. How could you not immediately recognize the reference there? It pisses me off.
I think it's just because it might be one of those things where they haven't seen it a long time and they just, just kind of just, it's in the back of their minds, maybe.
As a profound connoisseur of the cartoons, Feeling Pinkykin deeply pleases me. I don't care if the moral came out cross-eyed and basically controversial and everything else about that episode was practically perfect. I don't let that one detail of the morale, which could have been completely cut out, or even easily fixed by simple rephrasing it. That episode is still one of my favorites, and that because it homages and parodies classic cartoons and all that. So oh god,
we're going on.
Power Ponies. Okay, we need to conclude this.
Yeah, I think I will conclude this by saying that overall season 4 of My Little Ponies, at first starts off for me is like I'm neutral to it. It just seems like a.
Are you kidding me? That was the freaking best season opener in history of anything. It was like the perfect thing happening, just the emotion, the feels, man, the feels. And Discord, and also the rabbits and the princes and the elements of harmony going back to the tree of harmony, which is kind of like the tree of life in Genesis, or the Yggdrasil in the Norse mythology.
Madhog.
And there's continuity
Madhog.
And the flashbacks.
Madhog, I'm going to turn off your fanboy mode. Let me explain.
Okay, please go on.
I may have felt neutral about it, but I can still praise the opener for making changes and sacrifices just to basically let the characters grow like any other good series grows. I can appreciate that. As for the other episodes like Mane-iac and Power Ponies and the
Mane-iac.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking I'm still in our Broniac mansion mode. But yeah, as I was saying, the other episodes, including Power Ponies, have all been very fun to watch, really. They all have their strong points, and very enjoyable episodes to watch. And Power Ponies just takes the biscuit for silliness.
I think Daring Don't was actually funnier than that, but that's because Daring Don't has something that no other episodes in the history of this show has ever had.
An Indiana Jones sort of style?
No. Rainbow Dash, epic, saucy face. And I thought, it's the perfect oh snap face ever animated. It's like wow. It's all the new facial animated expressions of the characters this season are pretty outstanding.
They're very amusing.
Remember Miss Harshwini's perpetual scowl in
yes, I remember her.
That was quite amusing. But nothing beats the Rainbow Dash oh snap Sozy face. In fact, I'm calling that the Daring Burn face. Because Daring does the greatest burn ever.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, Daring Burn! If I made a parody of that. I made a video parody of Daring Don't, and I posted it on my YouTube channel, exactly pointing out the Daring Burn thing. It's got, by the time I'm recording this, it's got like 11,854 views in the span of a week.
Wow, that's really big.
That's my most viewed video ever, and that really saddens me.
Yeah, that's very saddening. But anyway, we need to wrap this up, so I'll wrap up mine, and then I'll let you wrap up. And
okay, so you like power ponies because
it's just very fun and silly, really, and it's just something to to unwind, really, and just have a good laugh at and enjoy, really, just like any good cartoon should have every so often, really.
Same for me, really. But really, the thing that I like the most about this episode is that now I can compare Rainbow Dash with both Thor and Storm, Twilight Sparkle with Doctor Strange, and probably the Iceman, and I can compare Pinkie Pie with Quicksilver and the Flash, and Applejack with the Batman and Wonder Woman, and Rarity with all the lanterns in the Green Lantern universe, basically. And now we have a villain that's basically a toss-up between Sedusa, Joker, and Doctor Octopus in pony form, which is great. I think there were some missed opportunities to really bring this episode full on over the top more than it could have possibly been, because it was a bit tamed, actually. I think they could have had the awesome Batman fighting scenes reference in the first fight against the minions, with all the BAM! All the onomatopoeic signs appearing on screen. It would have felt more complete as a parody and as an episode.
Yeah,
but the build up to Flutter Hulk was
good.
Flutter Hulk smash Big Bad Meanie.
Let me think though, because the thing was that how everyone we talked about Spike was like the one character that was very rare to be doing much in it, but maybe that was the point, sort of thing. But yeah, one of those things where characters who don't do much, but at the very specific point become important suddenly, shows that they can be useful, but at a very specific point.
But there was a very specific problem with that.
What would that be then?
Well, Spike kind of single-handedly saved an entire empire before that, and it's not like he's being useless before that.
That's true.
So really, this moral was both unnecessary
and pointless,
and really stupid.
Because we've already learned it.
Because it's kind of was already known. I mean, if he wasn't, he was the whole reason. He was the main reason why people liked Equestria Girls at all. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody has something negative to say about Equestria Girls, but everybody basically agrees that Spike was the best darn thing in that film, and he was a dog, not even a dragon.
Yeah, it puts a whole perspective on the whole dog sidekick thing, doesn't it?
And it baffles me, because Megan McCarthy, which also wrote this episode, she's usually the one who can write Spike the best. Well, her, and also, I'd say, Corey Powell, who wrote Just for Sidekicks, which was hilarious. But yes, if you think about it, Megan McCarthy usually nails the character of Spike in all the episodes, the adventure ones, and all that. In Lesson Zero, it was perfect. In Lesson Zero, it was spot on. In Equestria Girls, He was good, very good in the Crystal Empire. Crystals.
Yeah,
Empire.
Sombra.
Even though the Crystal Empire was mediocre at best, and I still, even I slightly reconsidered it, but still can't get over the disappointment that I felt.
Yeah, I especially couldn't because Sombra wasn't really that much of a in-depth character.
The problem of Sombra is that it could be easily the scariest villain in the show, because he was being pretty well built up until that point. The problem is that because he was this evil smoke of mysterious force that can do things and can just the memory of him scares some ponies to death, and he's mysterious and everything. So he's been very, very much building up until the end of the episode. The problem is, and when it's time to actually see the payoff of all the building up, the payoff is
lacking.
How would I say? It's more than a payoff. It's a notice for missed payment of the monthly rent. If I have to use an analogy.
Oh dear.
So it was a disappointment.
Yeah, but we've gotten off track again, and we're about to be closing.
I'm getting back on track. But you know who's not a disappointment?
Mane-iac.
The Mane-iac! Now I shall spray. Now, of course, I'm an evil villain from the Silver Age. How else could explain that my evil base is an abandoned shampoo factory? Of course, I have the origin story of the Joker in the comics, which is stupid. and all of a sudden, I got crazy and got super mad powers, and I'm going to take over the world with this orb of non-specific power, and I'm going to freeze everyone to death with my awesome spray of evil, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. This is quite the main racing experience. That was the lamest pun I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, that's probably not the only main reason you had a bad pun there.
Oh, you did not just go that. You did not just go there, girlfriend.
Oh, yes, I did.
Well, now we have to conclude this podcast doing a series of puns, don't we? Your puns are making my hair turning white.
Well, that was a very hair-raising experience for you then, wasn't it?
That was already done. Well, it's getting hairy around here, or it is just me.
I think we should just end there. So thanks for joining us, folks.
What did you just say?
I said thanks.
I thought you just said thanks, vagina, folks.
Thanks, vagina? What do you think this is? What do you think?
It sounded like you said thanks, vagina.
What do you think we are?
I don't know. Some guy on the internet. I mean, what kind of a name is the Archbaron anyway? Is it not even your real name? Is it your real name is Scott Mac somebody? I'm sorry. Having a normal name, no, eh? Not an option. Who named you? Evil Dr. Spock from the X Dimension. Oh God, you help me.
I think I just killed him, folks.
Oh no, I am the reason of my own misery. Well, my hair is falling down. The Mane-iac. I just got the joke. It's Maine with the word maniac. Oh, God.
Yes. How could you not get that?
I did get it, but I thought, why not? I did get it, really. But
yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you.
Anyway, this podcast is gonna. So, okay, our final thought about Power Ponies and the whole of season 4 so far in its first 6 episodes, which is the first quarter of the entire show, is that I don't know about you.
I like it myself too.
It's freaking my it's my freaking little freaking pony friendship is freaking magic freak. I've been waiting a whole year for this season 4. I counted the days on my calendar. I mean,
He even has the My Little Ponies calendar, folks. Just for that.
I've been drowning myself in fan fictions just to keep myself occupied. Finally, of course, I'd be happy that season 4 is begun, and it did not disappoint. It's great. It would be my favorite show of 2013 if Attack on Titan didn't come out the same year.
Yeah, but we will talk about that.
I want to see Attack on Titan with Ponies.
I think there might be fan art of that already.
Yeah, I want to see Ponies with Pacific Rim too. Now that I think about it. I want to see Attack on Pacific Ponies.
Folks, leave while you can. I'll keep Madhog off by turning his key, his fan mode key.
Good night, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
The hair-raising experience.
You're the